I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, April the 7th, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Manage your feedlot operation anywhere, anytime with Performance Beef. A bull market this week, and I tell you what, it is really going strong, and nothing seems to get in its way. It just bulls right through the middle of them. I told you on our last visit that our spot April live cattle futures would come under some pressure due to all the deliveries, or the 45 deliveries that we had tendered on the first day of notice there. And in fact, it didn't bother it a bit. And your spot contract, your April contract, is leading the way, and it's out in front, and with the biggest gains, and the others behind it are mostly higher, but they're just moderately higher, with your spot April up pretty big again. And the fact is, there's just so much good news out there. We've got pork higher than beef comparatively, and so it's pulling it along, and it's a pretty good comparable type of product there, and should be a lot cheaper, but it's getting up there pretty high, and so it's pulling your beef along. We've got tight numbers of market ready cattle. We got a smaller calf crop coming. We've got everything just kind of going in our way. The only thing that's not is feed costs, and guys aren't paying a whole lot of attention to that. But April live cattle futures up pretty big, and the deliveries aren't scaring anybody off. Normally we get into the spot month, even though we got quite a ways to go yet, your longest longs are getting scared, thinking that people are going to deliver on them. That doesn't scare them off at all. The guys that delivered cattle at 121.37, if the longest long gets delivered upon, what's the big deal? Hey, I've got a pretty good product right here that likely either late this week or next week I can sell even higher. So it's not that big a deal, but man, we've got a bull market. Another bull market I want to talk about is our production sale bull market. You guys know that with DV Auction, that's our bread and butter, is production sales. We do 12 to 1,300 of them every year, and we've got the biggest list of buyers that opens your bulls up to. If you have a production sale with us, we can do it at your place, just about anywhere. The thing that I've noticed here, working a lot of these bull sales, talking to the folks that I work with these production sale bull markets, is they're just higher everywhere. I mean, the next thing we can compare it to was 2014. But these bulls are just averaging way more than what we expected them to average. And why is that? Well, there's fewer bulls because that cold snap all over the midsection of the country, it caused a lot of these bulls to test out as far as being fertile. And so there's not as many bulls available. And if you guys have some bulls and you're getting ready to turn bulls out, and you think, well, I got enough bulls and I'm not going to worry about it, my bulls have been good, you better get them tested, guys, because the frostbite, I tell you what, on the testicles of those bulls, unless you had them bedded down with some thick bedding, and they were in a windbreak and really warm there, your chances are about 20 to 30% of your bulls are not going to be any good anymore. So you better get them tested. You better get out there and buy some. You better get some insurance policies out there. A bad bull or two could cost you more than just about anything that can happen outside of having your feed poisoned or something like that. But be sure you check your bulls because it's a big problem out there. A lot worse than I thought, especially in places where people aren't thinking about it all the time. If you've got bulls that are acclimated to the North Country up there, and you're acclimated to that, the way you take care of your bulls and things, it's not a big deal. But guys in Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, big time, you may have some bulls that had some damage there and they're not any good anymore. So you need to take care of that before it's time to turn those bulls out. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday there. Your April live cattle futures, like I said, up $1.35, right in the face of deliveries. Had another big slug of deliveries tendered on Tuesday, more than we did on Monday, but 122.72. Your June live cattle futures up 20 cents at 124.62. So guys are thinking, heck, if I get delivered upon, I'll just put those things back on feed. I'm going to have a better market coming to me. How about your out fronts on live cattle? Down just 15 cents to up 20 cents. April feeder cattle up just 2 cents at 146.47. May was unchanged at 151.77. Out fronts were up a bunch on feeder cattle, up 80 cents to up 155. Fat cattle trade, we really haven't seen anything other than a few smaller fed cattle auctions selling cattle way up into the mid-20s, mid-120s. It's not a big deal there. The only trade of any significance at all is we saw some Kansas cattle sell to a local regional right there at 121, about 1,200 head of them. That's a pretty good clip right there, because we didn't really see anything much higher than 118 in Kansas there. So that's a pretty big gain right there. And we should see Nebraska trade at a premium to whatever they can get in the Southern Plains. So it's likely that we're going to gain at least $2 or $3 this week again. And like I said, we're just in a bull market right here, guys. And why is that? Well, like I said earlier, your beef is selling so good. These box beef cutout values are just going through the roof. I mean, you would think that we were in full-on pandemic, empty shelves and gouging was going on, the way these cutout values are raising. And it seems like we saw that just about a year ago this time. But choice cuts Tuesday afternoon, 260, 277, up $4.10. Selects up $1.44 at 250, 130. But your packer margins continue to grow, even though they're giving an extra couple bucks here or there for fats. Their margins are outrunning what they're having to give in the cattle arena. So don't feel sorry for them, guys. But indeed, your packer margin is the biggest since early last summer. The amount they're making on every one that they slaughter. And so guys, just hang right in there. You guys deserve a good market. And you don't have to sell those cattle. Nobody's getting bogged down right here. They have to have the cattle. So they'll come to their milk. Just hold out, guys, and talk to your friends and neighbors around there that's got cattle to sell. You guys should be talking all the time. Don't think these packers aren't talking to each other about what they're bidding and what's going on. You guys should be texting each other, telling everybody what you heard, and relaying that round and round to everybody that's in your immediate area. How about your slaughter? 225,000 through just Tuesday. That's 14,000 less than last week, which last week ended up being kind of disappointing, but 13,000 more than the same week a year ago, which we were starting to deal with some big problems with keeping workers on the line in your processing facilities a year ago this week. What else is going on? The Beaver Red Angus Ranch is going to have a couple of big online only sales coming up here pretty quick, and you guys want to get in there. What's the hottest thing going as far as purebred or completely full one breed type animals? It's your Red Angus females. That's the biggest thing going right now. And if it's hard for you to get away, some of you guys are still calving, some guys are getting ready to start farming, other guys, just whatever you're doing, it's just a busy time. Well, check out the Beaver Fever online female sale. It's going to be on DV auction only, and they've got 70 lots of fall Red Angus bred cows on Wednesday, April the 21st. They've got another 70 lots of open Red Angus heifers on Thursday, April the 22nd. They've also got some semen lots on there for sale. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll tell you what, it's the hardest thing to find right now. It's the hottest thing going. It's these Red Angus females. But get on to beaverredangus.com for more information. How about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction? Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 142.35, up another 47 cents and still climbing. Still, though, it is a $4.12 discount to what our April spot feeder cattle is. But that's not anything compared to what your CME cash feeder cattle index is. It's a $6.77 discount to what your spot April feeder cattle contract is. Why is that? Because of that huge dump on Friday of those direct cattle, and evidently somebody's trying to work the market a little bit lower there. Because they didn't measure up to snuff at all, because all these sales have been higher, guys. How about some of your big sales on Tuesday? Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri, 3,400 head there. Feeders, $2 to $4 higher. Your calves were kind of uneven, $3 lower to $3 higher. But man, remember they had that whale of a sale last week, which he quoted those stockers and calves, as much as $10 higher or even more. But they also had about almost 1,200 head of video cattle in their in-house video that they do through DV Auction. Been getting along really good on it. Had a couple of strings of some heifer calves that really lit up the board there. And I mean, just that is a good marketing option in there. And I think some of your other sales might be able to use some in-house videos to get some cattle that you can't get into the ring. Some guys want to sell them, but they really just like to keep them there at the house until they have to ship, and gives them a little more control. But if you got some big strings like that, you may want to look into it. A lot of other sale barns are doing it. How about another big sale? Kimball Livestock Exchange. Every week, Kimball, South Dakota, they just impress. Another 4,000 head of feeders on Tuesday, Kimball, South Dakota. Look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central there. You see most of the cattle were big, heavy feeders. I mean, these are just big calves, short yearling calves there, but man, they've got some weight to them. Look how well they sold. Look at your best tested weights, 1,142 head of 8-weight feeder steers there. Averaged 847 with a weighted average price of 145.29. That was up over $1.50 from the impressive sale they had just last week. How about 969 head of the 9-weight steers, average 944 at 138.62 on the weighted average price of all of them in the barn. That was up well over $2 from last week's weighted average, and it was an impressive quote too. I got several individual quotes that I'm going to give you from around the circuit, and I want you guys to listen there. And I could give you some impressive quotes of cows, but it's hard to tell a story. But if you've got some out cows, some way up cows, packer cows to sell, this is a good week to do it. I tell you what, they've just been dollars and dollars higher. And like I told you, that pork's getting so high. Your pork trimmings are actually higher than some of your fatter beef trimmings are, guys. And so it's going to continue to increase, but these cow packers are scrambling for cows right now. But it's a good week to sell cows. I'd check with your market man, your commission guy there. But if you've got some out cows to sell, good time to do it right now. How about some individual quotes around the circuit? How about my friend John Campbell, Winter Live, La Junta, Colorado? He had a hell of a sale. And he sent me this picture right here. Now these are two quotes right here of some lightweight calves. One going out and one coming in there. But these are the Rushton cattle. These were pee-wee calves that he bought last fall, kept them alive, and kept them together. And I tell you what, the condition is outstanding. Those cattle are ready for green grass. And look what they bring. And I tell you what, if I was John, the first thing I would do is take some of that black Gorilla tape and put it over that per head part of the scoreboard right there. You might give somebody a heart attack when you start selling them light calves that high. But look at the top quote right there. 51 head, 442 little stocker steers, pee-wee deals put together, bring 228 right there in La Junta, Colorado. And I guarantee you it's not lush and pretty right there. It never is. How about a quote from near where I'm at here, out west of Amarillo, Lone Star Stockyards, Wildorado, Texas. Tell you what, Bill Martin, manager, and his assistant manager, good friend of mine, Tom Schooler, they're getting the legs under that sale right there. And I tell you what, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see that first-rate facility starting to come along here pretty good. Look at this big-time quote that I had to give because I need Tom Schooler to help me next week auction off the county stock show premium sale. I tell you what, my buddy Ty Cranmer that I usually work that sale with, he's got another obligation, so he's going to be a little bit late, and I've got to kind of bribe Tom into coming over, and he's associated with Lone Star Stockyards. Here's a big time quote from Lone Star Stockyards of some cattle that come out of Groom, Texas. 195 head of them, weighed 860 pounds at $139. Okay, now you owe me. All right, how about some other quotes? I mean top quotes from around the circuit there. How about Atkinson Livestock Market, the old reliable right there on the Yellow Brick Road, Atkinson, Nebraska. 50 head, 614 pound steers, $187, guys. Big time quote. I talked about Kimball Livestock earlier with their automated market report. Now here's a big time quote. Kimball Livestock Exchange, Kimball, South Dakota, 463 head in one whack. Weighed 945 pounds. They take up some room, guys. It'd take a little while to weigh those up. You could probably go get a sandwich and come back. But 463 head, average 945 at 139.50. Wow, I'd love to have that check. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, and your Zactran top quote from the day, come out of Huron Continental Marketing in Huron, South Dakota. Somebody did it. Somebody brought through a significant size group. They had an 8 as a front figure and bring over 150, and they didn't just barely bring over. 70 head, 800 pound smooth steers, 151 1/4. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.